Greetings, royal family. Thanks for clicking on the video and welcome back to the channel. Okay, that's my cheesy game show announcer voice. All right, I'm behind. You read the title. You already know what it is. So let's just not waste time, get into it. So, Greenleaf, we are on the 5th day, episode 5. I got a lot to say about this. All right. So first up, we see Sophia. Sophia's in bed. She's bummed out. Her mother, Grace, comes in, opens the curtains, tugs on the comforter, says, "You know that your grandmother is giving her service, her Sunday service in a few minutes, girl. You better get up." Sophia's bummed out. She's been up all night because of these pictures that are circulating online. So apparently it reached all the way up to Hampton University, child. The college that she's supposed to be attending. Had she gone back to school, she probably wouldn't have been in this mess. But anyway, now I've said in a previous review or two that I think that Sophia is pregnant. Will she hide it like her mother did? I guess we'll have to wait and see. So, Sophia is also still in a rut. She's still hurt because, she gave up her cookies to Dante and he ghosted her. He ended up getting back with his girlfriend, right? So Grace is like, look, your grandmother's about to give this stellar performance down in the living room, so get up. So she ends up getting up and eventually joining the family. Up next, Big Brother Almighty, we have Jacob and Carissa. So they're in their quarters and they plan on sitting down Zora and telling her about their plan to divorce. Now, as usual, Carissa, she's trying to run a guilt trip on Jacob, and he asked her, "Hey, what did you and Fernando do all those afternoons? Sit and look at pics of the kids?" Good one, Jacob. Because she just basically trying to blame him for ruining the family because he wants to go through with this divorce. Like, Carissa, she seems to be having like second thoughts about the divorce. And again, she wants to blame Jacob for everything. And she says that he's going to be ruining the kids' lives. And Jacob is over her. So it seems like, she doesn't really want to go through the divorce, but he is all gung-ho. He is ready. He said, "Where do I sign?" We move on to see this lovely young lady who hasn't been getting on my nerves that much. She didn't get on my nerves in this episode. So Sunday service is underway and Charity is on the piano leading the at-home congregation with a beautiful song. She has a beautiful voice though. She's a Winans, isn't she? Yeah. But she does have a beautiful voice. But on the show, she is very unnerving. Okay. So you see the entire family gathered. Even AJ is there. Corinne is there as well. Lady May and all her drama, okay, is leading Sunday service with her fancy blouse. Let me tell you, that Lady May knows she could dress her tail off. Okay. So Carissa ends up interrupting the service. She makes a remark. She makes a shady remark. And she then asks Jacob, "Do you want to talk about this in front of everyone?" It's like, girl, will you please just pretend like you have a little bit of class, chlamydia? So Bishop is sitting next to her on the couch, and Bishop leans over and says to Carissa, "You've always been a woman of impeccable devotion." And I said to myself, impeccable devotion? Bishop, is your Alzheimer's acting up again? Must be. Impeccable devotion, please. And he tells her to settle down. And then, Jacob, so immature, "Yeah, amen." And Bishop says, "You too." Like, what is wrong? What? Let me tell you, this is why Lady may be reading the way she reads. Because everybody is annoying. Anyway, Lady May, she continues her sermon, and her message was new beginnings. So we see that service is over. Fast forward, service is over, and everyone in the family is partaking in some nice fancy delicacies, a nice fancy spread. And Grace and Noah, they're off to the side chatting, filling up their plate. And Noah reminds Noah reminds Grace about their first time together. And it took place on Consecration Sunday in the church in Calvary, currently known as Harmony and Hope. It's like, what? Why is he bringing that up? Something about Noah is very annoying. Darius, where Darius at? Lord grace. The church? You guys couldn't wait till you got home? Ugh. Can you imagine if Lady May would have caught them? Lord. Shame and a scandal. Anyway, we move on to the Lady May. Okay, so we see her putting on her Purple Rain inspired blazer, which was fabulous, by the way. And she is headed to pay Miss Tara, aka Rochelle 2.0, a visit. So Bishop, he offers to accompany her, and she lets him know, no. 2 Greenleaf men have gone to see this woman and cause problems. And with the help of God, 1 Greenleaf woman can solve it. So dramatic. I mean, he has to be so damn dramatic. I love it. So Bishop says, it's dangerous down there. May replies, especially dangerous for this skanks adjacent saint that wants to take my house. Pray for her. Baby, she kissed her man, Bishop, on his cheek, and then she storms off. Now, first of all, I had to rewind and pause and rewind. I said, did she say skanks adjacent saint? Who is writing for Lady May? Bravo, Lady May. Bravo. Now, as she was storming out, she meant business, okay? I could see the smoke in her heels when she walked off. And all I could say was, Tara, you might be in danger, girl. Even Bishop had like a little smirk on his face. And it looked like he was saying like, yeah, that's my rider right there. She my rider. Woo! So we move on to see Bishop and AJ. Now, as they're talking, they're looking on to see Carissa and Jacob arguing in the background and yelling at each other. And Bishop said, you know, all this food and family and people still find a way to be unhappy. And AJ, he said something about taking things apart to see what they're like, something probably profound, but I purposely ignored him because he gets on my nerves. So moving along, we see Lady May finally arrives at Tara's place. So I thought, okay, it's about to go down. So at first she pulls up and she's observing Tara outside of the community, what do you call it? The community center. And, you know, Tara's handing out food and she's conversing with the people that she's giving food to. And Lady May walks into the community center and she's looking around. And I'm sure Lady May is wondering, like, what kind of place is this? You know, Lady May's a little hoity-toity, right? For the Lord. Hoity-toity for the Lord. So Lady May, she asked Tara if she ever thought of doing more and being more ambitious. You know, that's a friendly way of saying, like, girl, you need to upgrade this place. Like, don't you want bigger and better? So then, of course, the house comes up. And Tara tells May that the house could be a shelter for abused women, a foster home for children, etc., etc. So Lady May is just standing there like, ugh. I guess she was expecting Tara to say, like, you better give me the house that my daddy should have got. But that wasn't the case. You know, and Lady May says, I should have known better. I asked God for a new beginning. Well, God has quite a sense of humor. So she tells Tara that she is doing good work, and then she walks off. I think Lady May just felt so floored. Now, y'all know Lady May, she's been on the righteous road, you know, to redemption since season 4. So she sees that Tara, you know, doesn't want the house to get back at the Greenleafs. Like, she's not out for revenge, unlike Rochelle 2.0 and Basie. So it seems anyway. She actually, you know, wants to do something with the house that will help people. I still think that Lady May has something to do with Daryl James' death. I'm going to keep saying that. All right, back to AJ and Bishop, right? So they enter a garage. Bishop's like, you know, come with me. I promise I won't try to save you because, you know, that's the issue that AJ had with Grace. Grace was always trying to save him. So I thought that was really funny. And I thought that was smart writing as well. He's like, don't worry, I'm not going to try to save you. Just come with me. So they enter a garage and Bishop tells a story of how he wanted a specific car, a GTO. I think that's the name of it. And his father bought him that car. However, it was in pieces. It wasn't assembled. And all the pieces to the car was, you know, in a big box. And he basically had to put it together, and he never did, right? So this is what he pulls the sheet off of and reveals to AJ And AJ's like, there's a GTO in here? So Bishop goes on to say, with all his wisdom, the lesson that he learned was that his father was trying to teach him was faith without works is dead. And Bishop said that he never got up the nerve to open the box to put the pieces together to build the car of his dreams because he didn't know anything about cars, and Bishop tells AJ that if he assembles the car with him, he can have it. So AJ, you see him smiling and he's just like, what? I think I'm going to like it here. So neither one of them know anything about building cars. AJ, he had admitted that as well. He's like, I don't know anything about building cars, and Bishop's like, neither do I, So I guess this is going to be a bonding moment of sorts for them. And then I thought, Lord, please, I hope they don't take Bishop up yonder, because I don't know why. I think someone's life is going to end at the end of this season, and I hope it's not Bishop. That was just too, I don't know. Don't go up yonder, Bishop. All right, let's move on. This guy, ever since he came back around, I've been side eyeing him. So Noah and Grace, and they're in Grace's suite, and they're discussing the house and the church and yada yada. So Grace asked him, how did things go with Noah last night? Noah's just like, it went okay. Thanks for giving me the opportunity. It's weird because it doesn't feel like I'm his dad. Anyway, Noah says that, Grace, you look tired. So he notices that Grace is tired. Grace been tired ever since she returned home in season 1. Okay? Non-stop stress this girl has been under. She been tired. Anyway, he puts a pillow in his lap and he tells her to lay down in his lap. He put a pillow there. And she's like, oh, no, He's like, come on. So, no, he starts playing Inspector Gadget, and he wonders why Mrs. David would leave the house to Darryl. He says this as Grace is laying in his lap. Grace is like, nobody knows, like that's what everybody's trying to figure out. I'm like, what do you know, Noah? What do you know, Noah? Now, I didn't like that look on his face, like when he was pondering. Then I said to myself, yeah, they brought him back for a reason this season, so all I got to say is, Darius, please come get your lady. Grace is out here reminiscing with Noah, talking about she was thinking about the house, thinking about church, thinking about you. You who, Grace? Darius? Okay. We move along to see Charity with her son for once, and she asked Sophia and Zora, hey, can you come, my beautiful nieces, can you come and watch, little man? She didn't even remember his name. She said, can you watch little man for me while I make this phone call? And I'm just like, where is Marisol? Where is Marisol? So Jacob and Carissa, they actually come down and they are telling Zora, hey, we need to talk to you. She's like, I'm a little bit busy here, being funny. So they're like, look, we really need to talk to you. So Sophia is left watching her little cousin. We move on to see Charity. She goes off into a room and she calls Phil's father and she lets him know, look, I was almost Charity Dumars, because he's just like, I don't want to talk to you, She's like, this is Charity Greenleaf, almost Charity Dumars. He's not interested in talking to any of them. Now, I can't wait to find out what his connection is with all this mess, right? Back to Bishop. So Bishop is back in the house with AJ and he's telling him, Jesus is real. And he's just saying that people don't understand what religion is. And he says it's about a connection. And then May walks in, child, looking defeated. I'm like, oh, May, what you done did? So Bishop is like, how did it go? She's like, I don't want to talk about it. He says, what? You made a big stink, a big fuss about going to see this woman? You had fire in your heels. He didn't say that. I'm just being extra. And you stormed out of her. You told me to pray for Tara. What do you mean you don't want to talk about it? What happened? So at first she didn't want to say anything. And then she turns to James. She says, I think we may have to give her the house. Bishop like, what? Lady May says that she wants to hear from God. Bishop is not with that. He is not here for it. He's like, wait a minute. He thought that she had it in the bag. He had a little smirk like, yeah, my rider gonna take care of this. Apparently not. That was a punch to his gut. So we move on to see Zora with her parents, right? And they're telling her basically in a nutshell that they're getting divorced. So Zora said that she wished that her mother would have divorced her father a long time ago. And then she mentions her father's indiscretions. Out of order. But she's angry. So I get it. You know, Carissa, in this moment, Carissa really had the chance to tell Zora what she did recently. But what did she do? What did Chlamydia do? She tells Zora, this isn't completely your father's fault. That's it. That's all she said. That's it. I guess that's better than nothing. That's a giant step for somebody like Carissa. But she should have said more. At least she said something. So Zora asked, what did you do, Mom? Cook too many dinners that stayed and got cold while child, she disrespectful. Her father sitting right there. She referring to him as he. No manners. While he was out messing with Alexa. Now, see, this was a good scene to me because some people who use the excuse that they stay in effed up relationships, effed up marriages for the kids, they don't even realize that the children most of the times know more than the adults think. And sometimes staying is worse for everyone, children included. Amen? Message. Anyway, Zora's like, can I go? Can I go? And she leaves out. And Jacob thanks Carissa for saying what she said. You know, she told Zora it wasn't all your father's fault. So I guess slowly but surely she may admit to what she's done, you know. And at that point, Carissa, she starts yelling. I'm like, here she go. She's back. She starts yelling at Jacob saying that I am willing to drop all of this. But once we take Winky to the psychologist and reveal this to him, there is no turning back. So they plan on taking little Winky to the child psychologist to break the news to him that his parents are going to be getting divorced, which I think is smart. You see that? You see what money can do? You have access to a whole bunch of resources. Child, never mind. I was about to make a bad joke. Anyway, but she says, once I tell Winky. Yo, that was so funny. In other words, you know, I'm still willing. Okay? Zora, she's a little older. So we can retract our statement. We can renege with Zora. But once we tell little Winky baby, there's no turning back. I thought Jacob was going to say something profound. Jacob's reply, as Carissa stormed off, Jacob's reply was, understood. I was like, oh, he is done. So we move on to see Sophia and AJ. And they're in the living room with Charity's son. Charity's still on that phone. And AJ Van Zandt gives Sophia advice, right? He tells her that she basically needs to grow up and get over all this picture stuff, you know, and get over that boy, grow up. Life is not going to be, you know, not going to coddle you. It is what it is. He pointed out Jacob and Carissa's relationship and that it's not normal for adults to be living at home. I guess he called himself giving her tough love, right? Now, do you see how huge the Greenleaf estate is? Y'all realize that that's a whole, like, that's a whole community, right? The compound. That estate is huge. I for certain would be living at home. See, you know, if he don't go sit down somewhere. See, what his problem is, he doesn't understand the concept of group economics. I couldn't even get it out. Group economics. Everybody lives under one roof, save money, and they put all their money together towards everything. Everybody, it works out for everybody. Look at the Greenleaf estate. Who says it's not normal to live at home once you're grown? Excuse me? Anyway, AJ Van Zandt, go away. We don't even know who you really are. Go away until we find out the distinction between you and the graveyard boy. Anyway, back to Grace. So she's still up in that suite with what's his name, Noah. And she's up from her nap, and she and Noah both have their clothes on, so that's a good sign. Cause I'm ready to call Darius. I'm ready to text him. Okay? So Noah claims that he was thinking while Grace was napping. I bet. Lust demon. I bet you were. And he reveals that when he lived in the guest house on the Greenleaf compound, okay, in the cottage, he came across a journal that was left by Miss Davis, whatever, her caretaker. And this caretaker basically kept records of the parts of the property that he worked on daily. This is what This is what Noah is telling Grace, right? So he also says that there were plans and sketches of things to do with the house, like once Mrs. Davis passes away, right? And the caretaker, it appears that the caretaker had it in his mind that he was going to be the one to inherit the house after Mrs. Davis passes away. So Noah continues on saying that a bunch of times in this journal, in this book, the caretaker would write, the Negro came by, or that Negro came over today. So the caretaker and Miss Davis were both cloud colored. Okay. They were both white. And Grace is like, the caretaker was white? Noah was like, yeah, I guess he's, assuming so. And Noah, he suggests that the quote Negro that's referenced in the journal might have been Daryl James. How does Noah know who Daryl James is? Is it because, well, if him and Grace grew up together, then Daryl James was a friend of Bishop's and Max, right? Then maybe he was around Daryl James growing up. Okay, that's fair enough. I just answered my own question. So in the midst of this revelation that Noah's having, Bishop, he walks in and he needs to talk to Grace. So, Noah, he leaves. And he's getting ready to leave. He's like, no problem. He's like, sorry to interrupt. Bishop tells Gigi that Lady May wants to give Tara the house. So Bishop, what does he do? He defaults to his usual problem-solving tactics. Interesting. That Alzheimer's ain't acting up, because he just reverted back to his tactics, using money to solve his problems. Basically, he wants to pay Tara off, and without hesitation, Gigi asked her father, not really her biological father, but her father, how much does he need? And he replies, how much you got? I love his voice. He's like, how much you got? Like, he's desperate. He does not want the house to be given up. Now, I find something interesting. How come all of a sudden, like, why is Bishop, at this point I'm watching, I'm like, why is Bishop so frantic about the house being given up? We'll find out. Let's check on Charity, see what the heck she's up to. So she's still on the phone with Phil's father, Shabazz X, or whatever his name is, and she asked him, can you help us? And he says that her conversation was more than 2 minutes, and Charity asked him, what did his wife do for Edenvale Lending, or what did Edenvale Lending do? And he tells her, listen, the river only flows one way, and it ain't got nothing to do with a river. You dig? I'm like, what? Then Mr. Shabazz hangs up angrily, okay? Now, I can respect him not being so, like, forthcoming with any information. First of all, he was obviously done wrong, and the name Bob Whitmore, his son's name, his wife's name, Edenvale Lending, all of these are triggers for him, right? So obviously he was done wrong, and he ain't taking any chances with these church folk who probably were the ones that screwed him over. Church people probably screwed him over some way, somehow. Could be wrong. And he doesn't know these people. He doesn't know if these people are genuine. So I'm not mad at his refusal to cooperate. It's like, I'm not giving you any information. Who do you work for? Who are you? You mixed up with my son. I don't even like my son. So I'm sure that he will tell all. But for now, him and his knitted Scully are being wise. I'm not mad at it. Now, I wish they would have shown what Charity said to this angry man during their conversation, because Charity can't be left unsupervised for too long, because Lord knows what she told this man. Anyway, we move on to Grace, Auntie Grace. So she shows up at the cottage, the guest house that Zora, can you imagine, currently occupies. That's where she stays anyway. So she sees Zora sad, and Zora tells Gigi that, her parents are getting divorced, and Gigi tried to offer some comfort, but Zora asks, like, what's the reason that, you're stopping by? And Gigi tells her, and Zora points her in the direction of a box with some old stuff in it. So Detective Grace is on the case. She finds the box, and just as Noah said, there was a journal in there, a ledger, and there was a journal with sketches in there. So now Grace is going to be putting on her detective hat and sifting through that box and finding out what the heck is going on. Who was the caretaker? Is the caretaker associated with Edenvale Lending? Is the caretaker associated with Bob Whitmore? Was the caretaker Bob Whitmore when he was young? Was it Bob Whitmore's father? Who was it? We don't know yet. All right, honey, it is getting heated in Bishop and Lady May's quarters. Lady May is chewing Bishop out in her beautiful ensemble, and she is upset about Bishop going to Grace and asking her for money. She's like, how many times are we going to crawl to Grace when we need help? And he lets her know, listen, May, Gigi wants us to have the money. Now, see, this is a sore spot for May because Gigi is the product of an affair that Lady May had. Gigi's biological father left her millions, so Lady May doesn't want to be reminded of that, affair, and she would probably feel ashamed that the man she had an affair with, that his money would be used to get her out of this bind. I get it. And I think she still has resentment toward Grace, even though she's trying to be on the road to redemption, like I've been saying. It's something about Grace that just turns her off. We found out, what was it, season 3, that Bishop wasn't her biological father, and Grace confronted her about it. And Lady May had to face, her actions. She had to face the truth. She lied to Grace all this time, but even when Grace returned in season 1, her mother was just, Lady May was just so toward her, Anyway, Lady May says, it's a stain on a dress that time will never fade. This is what she says to Bishop. Great analogy. So she's shamed. So Bishop says, you're going to let one mistake rule your life? And May said, she lied to everyone for 40 years in this family. You sure it's only 40 years? So May, she basically wants her new life and the new church founded on truth, as she said. And again, she's all about righting her wrongs. Mind you, she's pacing back and forth in her little ensemble with a Bible in her hand while she's talking to Bishop. She then freezes and says, we're giving Tara the house. And there's dramatic music playing in the background. I love it. Every minute of it. Now, Bishop, at this point, he gets up. Okay, he was seated, but he gets up. And he is going nuts. He's just like, he's very upset. And he tells me, you're going to make me look like a murderer. I just can't let you do that. Bishop is hiding something, and I think it is coming back to his remembrance. The way that Bishop was itchy and jumpy and acting in this episode, something is up. Bishop's hands ain't clean. May's hands ain't clean. And Mac, this is all Mac's fault. I'm not going to stop saying this until the season is over. So in the middle of all of this, Charity walks in. She didn't knock. She didn't even say, excuse me. She just walks in, and she wants them to accompany her down to the church, for one last visit before the church is demolished, right? The church, this is Sunday. This is taking place. And Tuesday, the church will be demolished. So she tells her mother, Mama, we're not going to say goodbye. We're going to say thank you. And Lady May nods, and she agrees to go. So they head on down to the church formerly known as Calvary, currently known as Harmony and Hope. So they arrive at the church, and the family is walking around and taking it all in. Carissa was even there. She was even in attendance. So they all stand on the stage and they're holding hands, and Bishop says, let us wait for our miracle. He's like, let us seal up this tomb or something. His voice is so freaking robust. I could listen to this man read me the dictionary. My gosh. Silver Vocals. I think that's his name on Instagram. Silver Voice or Silver Throat, something like that. Anyway, he then says, Bishop that is, I've been a liar all these years. I pretend to serve only him, but there's a part of me that serves only you. And he's looking at May. He's referring to her. He says, you know what? He forgives me. He then leans in closer to May and tells May, give her the house if you want. I said, uh-oh. What? Bishop, what's going on here? So I said, let me just be patient and wait and see how this plays out. And Lady May, in a whisper, says, if he wants. Now, see, I don't know about y'all, but that to me, was the most powerful line in the entire episode. The most powerful line. Not our will, but God's will. Ooh! Bishop said, you can give her the house if you want to. Lady Mae said, if he wants it. Honey, if he wants. Powerful. So then you see the camera. The camera pans out, and you see the family standing side by side, holding hands, looking up at this stained glass window with Black Jesus on it. Okay. So in the next scene, you see Lady Mae and Bishop. They arrive at Tara's community center in the dead of night. Looks like they came straight from the church that night right over to the community center across town. And they basically had planned to tell Tara that they were giving her the house. Emphasis on their plan. Come on, somebody. So they knock on the door, and Tara, she appears, and not even 2 seconds later, y'all, not even 2 seconds, Rochelle comes right behind Tara, and she says, I told you, Tara, these green leaves are like a bad penny. Just can't get rid of them. I said, ooh, no, who you calling a penny? Lady Mae is a silver dollar. You better get it right. You calling a penny. She's gold, a gold coin. Skank. She then walks right past them. For those of you who have no idea why I'm so passionate, if you are not up on Greenleaf, Rochelle, who you see in the black, she tried to seduce Bishop. Okay? Anyway, she then walks right past them, like walks in between them and just looks and walks with a stank look. Now we see her ride pulls up, it looks like a car like pulls up, and we don't see anyone get out of the car, but they pulled up aggressively as if like, come on, we got to get Tara out of here, you know? And Lady Mae and Bishop turn back to Tara, who is still in the doorway looking crazy. And they look at her, and Bishop folds his arms. And scene. Baby. I knew it. This girl, I said Rochelle 2.0. I said Basie. I think Basie is in that truck, or maybe even Tasha. I don't think that Basie is dead. That's number one. Number two, Miss Lady Mae, I totally understand that you on the road to redemption. And I get that you are trying to right all your wrongs, ma'am. But it is time to get crunk, okay? Rochelle tried to take your man. She's now trying to take your house and trying to take your family down. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. I want to know what Tara is going to do, or what she's going to say to Lady Mae, you know, when Lady Mae asks for an explanation. She's going to invite her over for tea. I see it coming. You know, I don't think Lady Mae is going to go back over across town. No, the ball is in her court now. Lady Mae's, that is. So I wonder, that's coming. She's going to invite Tara over and maybe broker some deal. I don't know. I wonder what she's going to say. Will Tara speak and say, look, they forced me to do this? Because that's what it seems like. Tara seems like she genuinely is trying to do the right thing, but she's getting coerced by Rochelle and probably Basie. And another thing, what was in that folder that Lady Mae had in her hand when she first went to visit Tara? Because it seemed like she had planned to do one thing, but when she saw that Tara is really genuine and really, you know, like modest, very, very, very modest, you know, and really trying to do things for her community, Lady Mae had second thought. What was in that folder? That's what I want to know. Now, a little bit off topic, but not really, right? DMX and Snoop Dogg, they recently had a versus battle, right? So I was watching it live, and I seen that LaToya Luckett, who is the character of Rochelle, I saw her she was actually posting in the live chat, and I was so tempted to tell Rochelle to go back to the land of Trollop, where she crawled out of. I didn't though. But you know, I'm going to tell you one thing. LaToya girl, I want to see you in more acting roles. You're cast as a good villain. I like this. You know, she has played her role very, very well on this show. She played the heck out of Rochelle. But we gonna see. Is the old lady May gonna come back? Ladies and gentlemen, you know, these reviews are getting longer because 3 more episodes left. Only 8 episodes for this season. How will this end? There is 3 episodes. What are they gonna pull? Are they pulling the wool over our eyes? Is one of the episodes gonna be 2 hours or an hour and a half? How are they gonna tie all of this together? Or are they basically setting the stage for the spinoff? If that's the case, then I'm okay. I'll patiently wait for the spinoff. But I'm curious to see how they're gonna tie this all up in 3 more episodes. Are they gonna lose the house? Is Bishop gonna go up yonder? Is Jacob gonna change his mind about divorcing Carissa once he realizes that Rochelle is back in town? Don't trust no skank, Jacob. Don't. All right, Royal Family, this concludes my thoughts and my review on Greenleaf, the 5th day. Be sure to like the video if you liked it. Drop your comments. Let me know what you think. Drop some of your theories about what's going to go down in the upcoming episodes. What did you feel about this episode? How do you feel the season is going thus far? If you haven't done so, hit the subscribe button. Make sure you click your notification bell so you don't miss out on any of my uploads. I'm signing off, Royal Family. Until next time, peace.